Savanna, the fierce battle for the throne. The African savanna is a unique kingdom straddling the boundary between the rainforest and the desert. It is blanketed in endless stretches of grass, dotted with sparse, drought-tolerant trees like the baobab or acacia. The climate here is defined by harsh extremes, a fleeting rainy season and a prolonged dry spell, forcing every creature to adapt to the limit. Amidst this vast world, few empires are more formidable than that of the lion, the kings and queens of the arid grasslands. Predatory machines operating in the searing 40-degree heat. Today's target is already within sight: the plains zebra. An adversary fully equipped to survive in this cauldron, scorching under the relentless sun. In the lion's kingdom, the hunt is the domain of the females. Through millions of years of evolution, they have become the only big cats to live in social groups. They know that hunting alone, success rates hover between only 15% and 20%. Coordinated teamwork can double those odds. The predators must observe with intense scrutiny. The zebra's black and white stripes create the savanna's most formidable illusion. The shimmering heat haze only distorts the image further. The sophisticated motion dazzle effect. Lion vision is highly attuned to movement. However, they struggle to isolate individual details within a moving mass. Therefore, the ideal target is a stray zebra, isolated against the dry grass. The lion's body is a masterpiece designed for explosive bursts of speed. Their muscles are comprised of up to 60% fast-twitch fibers. This type of muscle requires no oxygen for immediate action. It allows the lion to accelerate from 0 to 60 kilometers per hour in mere seconds. In contrast, the zebra's gallop reaches speeds of 65 kilometers per hour. But they are endurance athletes, aided by specialized respiratory, and of an adult zebra's kick can generate up to 3,000 pounds per square inch. This force hits harder than a heavyweight boxer's punch and packs double the bite force of a wolf. Dense rear leg bones tipped with hooves as hard as steel snap ribs or rupture internal organs in an instant. The lion's first hunt of the day comes to an abrupt conclusion. A humiliating defeat for the queens of the savanna, the price paid for underestimating their prey. The failure with the zebra brings a costly lesson regarding target selection. But empty stomachs afford the pride no rest. The pressure to sustain the cubs waiting at the den forces them to make an audacious decision. They set their sights on a target that is larger, riskier, and deadlier, but offers an exponentially greater reward: the giraffe. In the vast savanna, this creature is nothing short of a mobile tower, rising 5 meters high and weighing in at over a ton. A colossal feast sufficient to sustain the entire pride for 3 to 4 consecutive days without the need to hunt again. But hunting a giraffe is a true mortal gamble. The disparity in size is immense. The predators weigh a mere 1/8 of their prey. Using sheer muscle power to topple a giraffe as they would an antelope or zebra is an impossible task. A shoulder barge or a bite to the giraffe's sturdy legs is futile. The pride must devise a different calculation, and gravity becomes their most trusted ally. Learning from their failure with the zebra, this time the pride deploys a more cautious formation. Constant mobility and staying clear of the lethal arcs the lives of the entire pride. Only the largest, hungriest, and most battle-hardened prides dare to accept this risk in exchange for survival. Which defense impressed you more? The zebra's explosive kick or the giraffe's sheer scale? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. But the lion's feast is short-lived. The thick, metallic scent of blood drifting through the air is an irresistible invitation to the lion's eternal nemesis, the spotted hyena. In the savannah, no meal is free and no victory is everlasting. They are among Africa's premier predators, boasting a hunting success rate of up to 70%. Dwarfing the lion's modest 30%. But when a colossal meal is served on a silver platter like this, they do not hesitate to hijack the prize. The spotted hyena is one of the few creatures daring enough to challenge the lion's empire, engaging in brutal head wars. The bite force of an adult hyena reaches 1,100 pounds per square inch, double that of a lion. A conical skull structure and massive jaw muscles allow them to pulverize the leg bones of buffalo or hippo like candy. Their digestive system contains acid so potent it can extract nutrients from bone, hooves, and horns, remains that lions are forced to leave behind. The hyenas have carefully weighed their decision to pillage. They strike only when the numbers tip in their favor, specifically a 3-to-1 ratio against the lions. Their manic, incessant cackling echoes not just as noise, but as a highly effective network of communication. The lionesses, already exhausted from the grueling giraffe hunt, find themselves losing ground. Their Savanna throne shakes violently before this insurrection of rebels. But at this critical moment, the pride's saviors arrive. The powerful males, the true kings of the Savanna. Sexual dimorphism in lions is the key to securing this victory. Weighing in at 200 to 220 kilograms, 3 times the mass of the largest female hyena, the male lion is the absolute counter. In this war for the throne, the hyenas may terrorize the queens, but before the absolute might of the king, the rebels have no choice but to bow in submission. While fierce battles rage beyond, deep within the hidden thicket, the lion's future generation is being forged. Lion cubs are born in an altricial state. They are helpless, blind, and utterly dependent on their mother during their first weeks of life. Yet, the killer instinct already courses through their veins. To survive the savannah, innocence must be shed as quickly as possible. Up to 50% of cubs fail to survive their first year. Consequently, at 3 months old, the cubs begin to wean and transition to a meat diet. This also marks the moment they begin learning the art of the hunt. However, it is still too early for these young princes and princesses to take to the battlefield. Instead, they engage in live combat drills with prey brought back by their mother. It might be a young antelope or a warthog piglet. The cruelty of nature is the very first step in crafting Maine's a patient mentor. She teaches the young the ultimate finishing move, the throat clamp, a precise bite to the trachea to sever the air supply. This is a skill of finesse, requiring a calibrated bite force and exact positioning. The cub's jaw muscles and claws are gradually hardened through these live combat drills. The cubs practice relentlessly, even in the absence of live prey. In these moments, their parents serve as simulated targets. In stark contrast to the ferocity displayed against hyenas, the father lion exhibits astonishing patience. He often feigns pain, letting out soft groans or collapsing dramatically to encourage the young, instilling confidence in these tiny warriors. These games serve to develop fast-twitch muscle fibers, honing reflexes, and essential stalking skills. In the savanna, there is no room for weakness or hesitation. The cubs must master the art of the kill before reaching 2 years of age. Otherwise, when they leave the pride to strike out on their own, a single fate awaits them: starvation. But hunger is not the gravest threat during these first 2 years. This is the period when cubs live under the absolute sanctuary of their parents. Yet, it is also when they face a menace emerging from their own kind. Nomadic lions, the wanderers. They are a shadow force, forever prowling on the fringes of the territory. They are young males, exiled from their birth pride upon reaching maturity to prevent inbreeding. Or they may be fallen kings, deposed and stripped of their lands. Nomadic lions possess no pride, no mating rights, and no hunters to sustain them. They exist in a state of perpetual hunger, their combat skills sharpened by the struggle of each passing day. A single biological imperative drives them: to usurp a new pride and propagate their lineage before age overtakes them. The invasion of nomadic lions brings with it one of the animal kingdom's most brutal biological behaviors: infanticide. All cubs under 9 months of age become immediate targets. It's only about 12 to 14 years. By eliminating the offspring, they force the lioness's body to cease lactation and return to estrus heat within mere weeks. This is their paramount objective: to propagate their own genes rather than expend mortal wounds, and will likely succumb to infection days later. The lion's dynasty in the savanna constantly faces such turbulence. From formidable prey and ferocious enemies to their own ambitious kin. Yet, that is not the most terrifying challenge of all. Do you know which famous animated movie was built upon this very war between a pride and nomadic lions? The lion's most formidable adversary is the African Cape buffalo. In the human psyche, herbivores are often synonymous with the image of gentle, passive victims, but the Cape buffalo shatters that naive illusion. Professional hunters have christened this beast the Black Death, or the Widowmaker. The buffalo possesses an incredibly vindictive memory and an acute ability to perceive threats early. Their brains have encoded the image and scent of the lion as a mortal signal that must be eradicated. They fully grasp the brutal law of the savanna. The innocent cubs of today will become the ruthless killing machines of tomorrow. Instead of passively awaiting the hunt, the buffalo executes preemptive strikes, exploiting the scorching midday heat when the adult lions are away hunting. old bulls will break away from the herd to take action. Their objective is singular: to exterminate the future seeds of the enemy. Mature bulls weigh up to 900 kilograms. They are fueled by extreme ferocity, driven by testosterone accumulated over the years. Their keen sense of smell relentlessly scans the air for the signature scent of their enemy. The cubs, still clumsily learning to hunt, stand absolutely no chance of resistance. If they do not flee in time, they will perish under frenzied trampling or be gored by... Even the presence of the lioness cannot turn the tide. She is utterly powerless against the sheer force of the adult bulls. This act is brutal, yet rooted in a profound survival calculation. By eliminating the enemy's future generation, they alleviate predation pressure on the herd for the next 2 to 3 years. But the pride does not forget this spectacle. The grief of loss only deepens the blood feud between these two species. Their war becomes a perpetual cycle of violence with no end in sight. Will the pride be able to exact their revenge? Drop your predictions below and stay tuned to find out. Aside from lions, few predators on the savanna possess the audacity to venture near a herd of full-grown buffalo. But the spotted hyena is a reckless exception. Like outlaws of the wild, they do not hesitate to clash with heavyweights like lions or buffalo. Spotted hyenas are cunning strategists. They understand perfectly that they cannot take down a buffalo with a frontal assault as a lion might. The weight disparity is simply too vast. 70 kilograms versus meters thick acts as a layer of natural Kevlar armor. Even jaws delivering 1,100 pounds per square inch struggle to penetrate this dense, leathery shield. And when the rest of the herd rallies to the rescue, the hyena's hunt is all but doomed. When hundreds of buffalo converge, they form the savanna's most impenetrable biological wall. They lower their heads, presenting the boss, the fused shield of horn across the forehead, towards the predators. No predator is reckless enough to challenge such a phalanx. And the hyena is no exception. The impact of a buffalo's charge is sufficient to snap ribs, shatter the pelvis, and crush internal organs instantly. Retreat is the only viable option for the predators. This serves as the sternest warning the Black Death sends to the entire savanna. They are no easy quarry. They are the greatest, most worthy adversaries to the rulers of the arid plains. The buffalo's aggression reaches its zenith not in battle against predators, but when they clash with their own kind. Civil wars waged for power and breeding rights. During the mating season, surging testosterone levels transform the plains into a heavyweight wrestling arena for these giants. The herd's dominance hierarchy is dictated by brute force and the capacity to endure pain. Only the strongest and most massive males secure the right to mate, ensuring their elite genome is passed to the next generation. This is a battle of honor, and the vanquished is forced to flee to preserve his life. He carries wounds to both body and pride, accepting a demotion in the social hierarchy. And more critically, isolated from the protection of the herd, he becomes a prime target for the lions. The lions have not forgotten the massacre of their young. They prowl towards the buffalo herd's domain. This is no ordinary hunt. It is a battle for honor, for vengeance, and a war for the ultimate sovereignty of the wild savanna. A single adult buffalo yields up to 500 kilograms of meat, a massive influx of energy sufficient to sustain the entire pride for days. But to fell a buffalo, the pride must mobilize its full force, from the lionesses to the dominant males. The conflict commences with an ambush, targeting those isolated from the safety of the... This behavior is known as altruistic defense, a trait found only in species with high emotional intelligence and unbreakable social bonds. The balance of power shifts instantly. The strength of claws and fangs is rendered obsolete against the kinetic energy of a total assault. Their mission of vengeance turns into a catastrophe. The image of the lion, king of the savanna, fleeing in panic, is the ultimate humiliation to the throne. They are forced to scramble up thorny acacia trees, clinging on in trembling fear to escape the wrath below. At the base of the tree, the Black Death stands guard, eyes bloodshot, nostrils flaring with steam, ready to tear apart anyone who dares to slip. The siege can last for hours. This battle is the clearest testament to the fragile balance of power in the savanna. Here, there are no eternal kings. The hunter can become the hunted in the blink of an eye, and when the black rage rises, even the gods of the grasslands must learn to bow. The lion or the Cape buffalo? In your mind, who is the true ruler of the savanna? In stark contrast to the chaotic fury of lions and buffalo, the leopard is a king ruling the shadows with absolute silence. They are the most widely distributed, successful, yet elusive member of Africa's Big Five. They thrive everywhere, from humid tropical rainforests and precarious rocky crags to the fringes of arid deserts. The leopard's secret to survival lies not in brute muscular force, but in phenomenal adaptability and the art of invisibility. Their golden coats are cloaked in rosettes. This pattern serves as a complex optical map designed to disrupt the leopard's body outline. Beneath the dense canopy, where sunlight filters through leaves to create dappled patches on the ground, the leopard's coat blends perfectly into the background, rendering them invisible even mere meters from their prey. They are the ultimate ambush predators. They approach with infinite patience, placing each soft paw pad silently upon the earth. The gap is closed to under 5 meters before the decisive strike is launched. Anatomically, the leopard is a machine of coiled muscle. They possess the most terrifying strength-to-weight ratio in the cat family, particularly in the muscles of the neck, shoulders, and jaw. This power enables a behavior unique to the savanna, climbing while hauling heavy loads. The leopard is the only predator capable of dragging prey weighing twice or even 3 times its own body weight up a vertical tree trunk. This is a mandatory survival tactic to safeguard their food. On the ground, they are constantly threatened by thieves like lions and hyenas. But high in the branches, 10 meters up, the leopard is the uncrowned king. They can enjoy their meal in absolute safety, far beyond the reach of larger, clumsier climbers. Leopard senses are also optimized for a solitary, nocturnal lifestyle. Their eyes are equipped with the tapetum lucidum membrane behind the retina. This layer acts as a mirror, reflecting light back through the retina once more. Consequently, their night vision is 6 times superior to that of humans. Extremely long and sensitive whiskers act as tactile antennas. These biological instruments help them navigate dense bush and detect air currents while moving. The leopard is proof that evolutionary perfection lies not in colossal size, but in the sophistication of every detail. Though sharing a spotted coat, the cheetah has chosen an evolutionary path completely opposite to the leopard. They are the embodiment of pure speed. They are the fastest land animals on the planet. The cheetah's body is designed like a Formula One race car. It features an ultra-light skeleton and a deep, wide chest to house a massive heart and lungs. Large nostrils help optimize oxygen intake during a sprint. All these features allow the cheetah to accelerate from 0 to 112 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds. When reaching top speed, their stride can measure up to 7 meters. In every stride, there are moments when all 4 of the cheetah's feet are suspended in the air, making them appear to be flying just above the ground. The long, heavy tail acts as a rudder. It helps the cheetah maintain balance and execute sharp turns at high speed to pursue prey running in zigzag patterns. However, in nature, every advantage comes with a heavy price. To trade for tremendous speed, the cheetah has had to sacrifice combat strength. Their heads are small to reduce aerodynamic drag, resulting in a bite force much weaker than that of a leopard or lion. Their claws cannot fully retract. They remain permanently exposed, acting like the spikes of a track athlete to grip the ground. This causes the claws to wear down quickly, rendering them too blunt for use as self-defense weapons or for climbing. The cheetah is the most fragile predator among the big cats. They are too weak to defend their kill against scavengers like lions, leopards, or hyenas. Approximately 10 to 15% of the kills a cheetah makes are stolen. To survive, the cheetah is forced to alter its biological schedule. They accept hunting in the harsh midday sun, the time when temperatures peak and when other predators are resting in the shade. But even after securing a kill, the cheetah cannot eat immediately. The high-speed chase pushes their body temperature to dangerous levels, nearing 41 degrees Celsius. They require at least 30 minutes to pant and cool down. Those are 30 minutes of extreme tension when they are both exhausted and compelled to remain highly alert to every surrounding sound. A cheetah's life is a series of races against death, where speed is its only savior, but also its greatest burden. The preferred target and favorite meal of both the leopard and cheetah is the impala. With numbers reaching hundreds of thousands, they are so common that guides jokingly call them the McDonald's of the bush. The characteristic black M marking on their rear further reinforces this humorous nickname. But do not let that ubiquity deceive you regarding their survival capabilities. Impalas are the all-around athletes of the antelope world. They possess lightning-fast neural reflexes and superior agility. When pursued, they perform a characteristic behavior known as pronking. An impala can leap vertically into the air, up to 3 meters high, with all 4 legs stiffened and back arched. This action may seem like a waste of energy during a crisis, but in reality, it carries 2 vital biological purposes. First, It disrupts the predator's vision and calculations, especially for ambush predators in tall grass like the leopard. Second, this is a way they send a message to the predator. I am very fit, vigorous, and agile. Do not waste your effort chasing me. Cheetahs and lions often give up early when witnessing prey perform impressive pronking leaps. Furthermore, impalas are masters of the zigzag running tactic. When chased by a cheetah, the impala will continuously change direction abruptly at high speed. This tactic perfectly neutralizes the cheetah's linear acceleration ability. With every turn, the cheetah is forced to decelerate and adjust its center of gravity, draining precious energy. Impalas also utilize the strength of the herd to survive. During the breeding season, a dominant male will manage a harem consisting of dozens of females. Hundreds of eyes and ears of the entire herd form an effective early warning network. When one detects danger and emits an alarm call, the herd explodes like a firework, scattering in every direction. This chaos makes it difficult for the predator to focus on a specific target, increasing the survival chance for each individual. Impalas are resilient survivors, playing the role of the foundation that sustains the entire savanna ecosystem. The greatest enemy thwarting a leopard's hunt is sometimes not the lion or hyena, but the vervet monkey. These diminutive monkeys with pitch-black faces serve as the savanna's most effective early warning radar system. They possess keen color vision similar to humans, allowing them to detect the minutest details. Their prime vantage points high in the treetops transform them into sentinels that never sleep. But the vervet monkey's most potent weapon is language. They possess one of the most complex semantic communication systems in the primate world. They have distinct vocal vocabularies to designate specific types of predators. A low-pitched grunt signals a martial eagle soaring overhead. Immediately, the entire troop looks up and dives into the lower thickets. A high-pitched chutter signals a snake or python on the ground. The monkeys stand on their hind legs to scan the grass. And specifically, a series of short tonal alarm calls is the code reserved for the leopard. When a vervet screams this command, the entire forest understands the message. Impala cease grazing and raise their heads. Birds scatter into the air in chaos. The element of surprise, the leopard's most vital weapon in ambush hunting, is completely shattered. Vervet monkeys also maintain a complex social life centered around social grooming. Removing parasites and grooming one another serves as both hygiene and the social glue that binds members, solidifying alliances and relieving stress. Thanks to unity and intelligence, the vervet monkey becomes a thorn in the side of every predator. They prove that in the war for survival, information is the most powerful weapon. Compared to the impala or vervet monkey, the warthog presents a completely different challenge for the leopard. They are among the most tenacious and dangerous warriors of the savanna. Their weaponry consists of 2 pairs of curved tusks protruding from the jaws. Of these, the lower pair is shorter, razor-sharp, and self-sharpening every time the warthog closes its mouth. A single headbutt from a warthog can inflict gaping wounds. It can sever tendons or puncture the abdomen of any predator daring enough to launch a frontal assault. Warthogs do not dig their own burrows, but they are resourceful opportunists. They often commandeer the abandoned dens of aardvarks to serve as shelter for the night or during times of danger. The warthog's burrow defense tactic is a military masterpiece. When pursued, the warthog will sprint toward the burrow and spin around to enter rump first at the very last second. This stance transforms the burrow entrance into an impregnable fortress. Only the armor-plated head and razor-sharp tusks point directly outward. Any predator foolish enough to stick its head into the burrow will receive a fatal gore. The leopard, despite its power, dares not risk diving into those blades. Faced with this fortified defensive strategy, the leopard is forced to use intellect rather than brute strength. They employ the door ambush tactic. The leopard will lie in wait above the burrow entrance, patiently waiting for hours, motionless as a rock. In the early morning, when the warthog lowers its guard to emerge for feeding, the instant the pig exposes its head, the leopard plunges from above, clamping down on the throat or nape before the prey can react. This is a tense battle of wits between a resilient defender and a patient attacker. Furthermore, the warthog exhibits an interesting habit when running. It erects its tail straight up into the air. The slender tail, tipped with a tuft of hair, resembles a broadcasting antenna. In the tall grass, this tail allows the piglets to locate and stick close to their mother to avoid getting lost, much like a military signal flag. The combination of razor-sharp weaponry, burrow defense tactics, and attentive parenting ensures the warthog's steadfast survival amidst a siege of countless enemies. One of them is the Central African rock python, a silent assassin that causes even the leopard to be wary. This is Africa's largest python and one of the most colossal snake species in the world. A mature rock python can reach lengths of up to 6 meters and weigh over 100 kilograms. The rock python is non-venomous. They kill prey with pure muscular force through the mechanism of constriction. Their teeth curve backward. These hundreds of razor-sharp teeth act like fish hooks, embedding deep into the prey's flesh. The more the prey struggles, the deeper they sink, making escape impossible. Once the target is locked, the rock python coils its massive muscular body around the victim. Many mistakenly believe that pythons kill prey by crushing bones. The scientific reality is far more brutal and sophisticated. Every time the prey exhales, the python's coil tightens slightly, preventing the lungs from expanding to take in new air. Simultaneously, extreme pressure cuts off blood circulation, causing cardiac arrest before the victim can even asphyxiate from lack of oxygen. Death arrives swiftly, silently, and irreversibly. A mature rock python is powerful enough to kill and swallow a leopard, an antelope, or even a small crocodile whole. Their feeding capacity is a biological marvel. The python's lower jaw is not fused to the skull, but is connected by super-elastic ligaments. This allows them to open their mouths up to 150 degrees, swallowing prey many times larger than the size of their own head. After such a massive meal, the rock python can go months without eating, lying dormant in its den to digest. However, the relationship between the leopard and the python is a two-way battle. The leopard also hunts rock pythons, particularly juveniles or those of medium size. Lightning-fast feline reflexes help the leopard evade the python's strike and target the head. But the risk is ever present. With just one minor mistake, the hunter becomes the hunted. The war between big cat and giant reptile is always a mortal duel of reflexes, strength, and cold-blooded resolve. But the Central African rock python is not the only species that causes the leopard to be wary. If there is one animal that makes the leopard think twice before attacking, it is the baboon. Unlike other gentle primates, baboons are the true street gangs of the Savanna. They are aggressive, united, intelligent, and equipped with heavy weaponry. The baboon's most terrifying weapon is the male's pair of canines. The fangs of an alpha baboon can measure up to 5 centimeters, longer even than the fangs of a mature lion. Their jaw structure is incredibly strong, combined with a volatile temper, making them formidable close-quarters combatants. The baboon is one of the few animals that dares to actively attack a leopard. This is mobbing behavior at its highest level. When detecting a stalking leopard, instead of scattering in panic, the largest males assemble into a vanguard army. They scream piercingly, throw stones, shake trees, and bare their fangs in threat. The confidence of numbers overrides individual fear. They surround the leopard, cutting off escape routes, ready to rush in and tear it apart. There have been many documented cases of a baboon troop killing and dismembering a leopard that failed to escape in time. For the leopard, the risk of injury when facing an entire baboon troop is simply too great. An infected bite is synonymous with an inability to hunt and subsequent starvation. Therefore, leopards often choose to retreat or hunt only solitary baboons, separated from the troop at night when the primate's vision is limited. However, the blood feud between these two species is even more brutal than that. Baboons are omnivores, and they also consume meat. They actively scour thickets and rock crevices in search of leopard cubs. The baboon's act of killing leopard cubs is not merely for sustenance. It is a long-term survival strategy. They understand that a leopard cub today will grow into the assassin that hunts them tomorrow. Eliminating the threat while it is still in its infancy is the best method to protect the troop. The conflict between leopard and baboon is an uncompromising war between two of the most intelligent species on the savanna. On one side is a solitary killer with master-class assassination skills. On the other is a disciplined legion with overwhelming collective strength. In this war, there are no heroes or villains, only survivors. Existing amidst those fierce battles is the porcupine, the most difficult dish on the leopard's menu. The Cape porcupine and the crested porcupine are the continent's largest rodents. They survive by transforming into impenetrable mobile fortresses. Their coats have evolved into a terrifying defensive weapon system. The porcupine's back and tail are covered in thousands of hairs modified into quills. These quills are hollow, hard as horn, 30 to 50 centimeters long, with tips sharper than medical hypodermic needles. When threatened by a leopard, the porcupine does not flee in cowardice. They bristle their quills to appear twice their actual size as a warning signal. They rattle their tail quills, creating a characteristic clicking sound akin to a rattlesnake. If the enemy stubbornly persists, the porcupine initiates a reverse attack mode. They charge backward with surprising speed, driving their quills into the opponent's face or paws. A common misconception is that porcupines can shoot their quills. In reality, their quills are attached very loosely to the skin. Upon contact with enemy flesh, the quills immediately detach and lodge themselves in the opponent's body. The tips of the quills feature tiny microbarbs. These barbs make extraction extremely difficult and excruciating. With every movement, the quill works its way deeper into the flesh. For a leopard, a quill lodged in the snout, eye, or paw is a slow death sentence. The wound causes agonizing pain, severe swelling, and massive infection. Unable to eat or hunt, the leopard eventually dies in starvation and agony. However, leopards are quick learners. Seasoned, experienced individuals have discovered the single weakness of this fortress. That is the soft, unprotected underbelly. The leopard's tactic is to circle patiently, pawing lightly to off-balance the porcupine or trick it into turning. In a moment of vulnerability, the leopard slides a paw underneath to flip the porcupine onto its back. A swift bite to the stomach ends the battle. But this remains a high-stakes gamble. With just one minor slip, the hunter becomes the victim of its own prey. The porcupine proves that in nature, size matters less than weaponry. The ferocious hunts of the lion or leopard are a vital piece in the diverse ecological mosaic of the African plains. But that canvas possesses far more vibrant hues than that. If the savanna is a grand architectural masterpiece of nature, then the African bush elephant is its chief architect. Weighing up to 6 tons and standing 3.5 to 4 meters at the shoulder, they are the largest land animals on the planet. But the elephant's authority lies not merely in its colossal size. It lies in the ability to completely transform the landscape around them. A massive physique comes with insatiable energy demands. Every day, an adult elephant must consume about 200 kilograms of vegetation and drink up to 200 liters of water to sustain its existence. This voracious appetite and nomadic habit turn them into a keystone species. They engineer habitats for thousands of other species. In dense acacia forests, elephants act as biological bulldozers. They use terrifying muscular strength to topple trees, snap huge branches, and trample thorny thickets. This act, seemingly destructive, is actually the key to ecological balance. By knocking down large trees, elephants prevent bush encroachment, breaking open the canopy to let sunlight reach the ground. This stimulates the growth of fresh grass, maintaining open savannas, the life source for antelopes, zebras, and buffalo. Without elephants, the savanna would vanish, turning into closed scrub forests, drastically reducing biodiversity. In the harsh, dry season, when rivers run dry to the very bottom, the elephant's role becomes even more critical. They use their dexterous trunks and tusks to dig deep into the sandy riverbeds. They create artificial wells, accessing the cool groundwater beneath. After the herd finishes drinking, these wells become a lifeline for lions, hyenas, birds, and insects. Socially, the elephant is an animal with the highest developed emotional intelligence. They live in a matriarchal society, led by the oldest and most experienced female. The elephant's brain possesses highly enlarged temporal lobes, where long-term memories are stored. The matriarch can remember the exact location of every waterhole during the worst drought from 30 years ago. They communicate using infrasound, low-frequency sounds that can travel through the ground for up to 10 kilometers. That is how they maintain contact and coordinate the herd's movements without ever seeing one another. The elephant is a symbol of strength, wisdom, and creation, the pillar supporting the entire savanna sky. Trailing the ground-shaking footsteps of giants are tiny, yet calculating white shadows. The cattle egret. This is the most quintessential example of commensalism in the animal kingdom. In this relationship, one party benefits entirely, while the other is neither harmed nor helped. The elephant, with its 6-ton frame, moves through grass as high as a human chest. Each heavy footfall generates tremors and disturbs the vegetation. Hundreds of grasshoppers, crickets, mantises, frogs, and lizards hiding in the grass are startled. They fly up in panic or leap from cover to avoid being trampled. This is the exact moment the cattle egret awaits. Instead of struggling to scour every clump of grass for prey, the cattle egret simply walks alongside the elephant's legs. Even the boldest individuals perch right on the elephant's back or head for a better vantage point. The elephant plays the role of the beater and the cattle egret is the harvester. When following megafauna like elephants or buffalo, the cattle egret secures twice the amount of food compared to foraging alone. Simultaneously, they expend 30% less energy on movement and searching. This is an optimal energy strategy. Work less, gain more. However, this relationship sometimes shifts slightly toward mutualism. The cattle egret remains on high alert. If they detect predators or danger, they take flight abruptly. This reaction can serve as an early warning system for the elephant, though the elephant rarely needs such protection. Additionally, the cattle egret consumes parasites like ticks and fleas from the elephant's skin, helping the giant relieve itching. The image of pure white wings fluttering around moving gray monoliths creates a beautifully peaceful contrast amidst the fiery savanna. It is proof that life always finds a way to lean on one another to survive. The elephant's impact on the ecosystem extends far beyond giants like trees. They also influence the tiniest creatures in the most miraculous ways, including the African bullfrog. This is one of the largest frog species in the world, with males weighing up to 1.4 kilograms. Their lives depend entirely on water sources. In the rainy season, when the savanna clay becomes pliable, passing elephant herds create micro-topographical changes. 6 tons of weight is channeled through 4 legs, pressing deep, giant footprints 30 to 40 centimeters into the earth. Rainwater quickly fills these deep pits, transforming them into isolated miniature ponds. For the African bullfrog, this is prime real estate. In large lakes, tadpoles face countless enemies: fish, kingfishers, turtles, and predatory insects. Survival rates there are incredibly low. But inside an elephant footprint, the environment is completely isolated and far safer. The male bullfrog will claim these water-filled footprints as private territory. They emit deep, cattle-like bellows to call mates to spawn. After fertilization, the father becomes the most devoted guardian in the amphibian world. He guards the footprint pond day and night, ready to attack anything that approaches, including large beasts or humans. He uses powerful jaws equipped with odontoids, pseudo-teeth, to bite and inflict injury on enemies. However, the greatest risk to these tiny ponds is evaporation. Under the African heat, water in the elephant footprint can dry up before the tadpoles can metamorphose into froglets. At this juncture, the father's intellect comes into play. The male bullfrog will use his powerful hind legs to dig irrigation channels. He diverts water from neighboring puddles into the drying footprint, or opens a path for tadpoles to swim to a larger body of water. The survival of an entire generation of bullfrogs depends on an accidental depression in the ground left by an elephant. The elephant is completely unaware, yet each of its footsteps is an entire world for these tiny creatures. In the upper tiers of the vegetation, another fascinating relationship is forged between a lumbering giant and the savanna's most elegant resident, the greater kudu. This is a magnificent antelope featuring a gray coat striped with white and proud, spiraling horns towering from the males. Kudus are browsers, not grazers. Their favorite delicacy is the protein-rich leaves of the mopane and acacia trees. However, the most succulent and nutritious young leaves are often located high in the canopy, far beyond the kudu's reach. Although they can rear onto their hind legs to stretch upwards, the kudu remains limited by its physical stature. This is when they require the muscular might of the elephant. African elephants are voracious eaters with a somewhat destructive feeding style. To access the foliage at the summit, elephants often ram their heads forcefully against the tree trunk. Alternatively, they coil their trunks around massive branches to snap them or even topple the entire tree to the ground. After consuming the choicest parts, the elephant often moves on, leaving behind a chaotic debris of broken branches and leaves on the forest floor. For the kudu, this is a buffet fallen from the heavens. They patiently trail the elephant herd at a safe distance. The moment the elephant departs, the kudu approaches the felled tree. For the first time, they can access fresh foliage previously reserved only for giraffes or birds. This behavior is known as facilitation. The elephant inadvertently creates foraging opportunities for smaller species without incurring any cost to itself. One's destruction becomes another's survival opportunity. This bond helps the kudu navigate periods of food scarcity, particularly during the dry season when lower shrubs have been stripped bare. The slender silhouette of the kudu shadowing the thundering footsteps of the elephant herd is an emblematic image of intelligent adaptation in the savanna. However, not every creature welcomes the presence of the elephant. At waterholes and rivers, the elephant faces off against a stubborn and aggressive adversary, the hippopotamus. These are the volatile giants of the swamp world, weighing 1.5 to 3 tons. The hippo is an extremely territorial animal in the water. They claim the stretch of river or lake as private property and are ready to attack any intruder, including crocodiles or lions. When the elephant herd descends to the river to drink and bathe, a conflict of interest arises. Elephants need to consume massive amounts of water and enjoy splashing, churning up the hippo's habitat. The dominant male hippo often reacts with signature threat displays. They bellow out, resonant, booming grunts. They gape their jaws to 150 degrees, brandishing razor-sharp ivory tusks up to 50 centimeters long. These are terrifying lethal weapons, capable of snapping a crocodile in half or puncturing a boat. The hippo's objective is to intimidate the elephant into retreating. But in the natural world, size is the ultimate truth. A mature bull elephant can outweigh a hippo by 2 or even 3 times. Elephants possess long tusks and a dexterous trunk that can serve as long-range offensive weapons. Faced with this physical supremacy, even the hippo's frenzy must yield. The elephant often disregards the hippo's threat display, lumbering steadily into the water. If the hippo is overly aggressive, the elephant will splash water with its trunk, trumpet, or deliver a shove as a warning. The usual outcome sees the hippo herd begrudgingly submerging or drifting aside, making way for the true monarchs of might. However, during record-breaking droughts when water sources are depleted, the conflict can turn far more brutal. Tension accumulating in cramped mud wallows can lead to elephants killing hippos by impaling their thick hide with tusks or trampling them. This is the grim dark side of the battle for vital survival resources. At the final stage of the digestive cycle, as the elephant herd moves on, another army begins to mobilize, the dung beetle. The elephant is the savanna's largest waste-producing factory. Due to the elephant's inefficient digestive system, which absorbs only about 40% of nutrients, they excrete approximately 100 to 150 kilograms of dung daily. These colossal mounds of waste are packed with fiber, undigested seeds, and moisture. To the dung beetle, this is treasure, the most precious source of food and building material. The moment the dung hits the ground, thousands of beetles fly in from all directions, navigating via their keen sense of smell. They quickly carve out a portion of the dung, using their hind and middle legs to mold it into a perfect sphere. This skill is not merely art, but physics designed for the easiest transport. The male rolls the dung ball away from the main pile to avoid competition from rivals and the scrutiny of thieves. The dung beetle's navigational ability is a scientific marvel. They can roll the dung ball in a perfectly straight line, regardless of the rugged terrain. By day, they utilize the position of the sun to orient themselves. By night, the African dung beetle is the only insect known to use the Milky Way for navigation. Upon finding a suitable patch of soft soil, they bury the dung ball underground. The female then deposits her eggs inside that dung ball. This action carries immense ecological significance. First, it cleanses the grasslands, preventing flies and pathogens from breeding on decaying waste. Second, burying the dung fertilizes the soil, delivering nitrogen and minerals directly to plant roots. Third, and most importantly, dung beetles inadvertently become the sowers of seeds. Tree seeds within the elephant dung are buried, where moist conditions and abundant nutrients allow them to germinate into saplings. New acacia forests rise thanks to the silent labor of these tiny sanitation workers. Finally, let us turn to one of the most fascinating mysteries of evolution on the savanna. As the elephant herd passes the kopje rock formations, ancient granite boulders rising from the grasslands, they often encounter tiny creatures basking in the sun. The rock hyrax. Outwardly, they resemble oversized, chubby, furry guinea pigs with sleepy faces. They weigh only about 4 to 5 kilograms. Anyone looking at them would think this is merely an ordinary rodent. But genetic science has told a completely different story, one that stunned the biological community. The rock hyrax is actually the closest living relative of the elephant and the manatee. This 6-ton giant and 4-kilogram fluffball share a common ancestor from the group Tethetheria, dating back about 60 million years. Anatomical evidence is scattered across the rock hyrax's tiny body. The hyrax's feet do not feature sharp claws like a mouse, but flattened nails resembling tiny hooves, similar to the structure of an elephant's foot. Their skulls also possess striking similarities regarding the structure of the middle ear bones. Most notable are the teeth. The hyrax has 2 upper incisors that grow long and continuously, exactly like miniature elephant tusks. Their digestive system and testicular structure are also identical to those of the elephant. This bizarre relationship is a testament to the power of evolutionary divergence. From a common ancestor, one branch developed maximum size to become the elephant, dominating the grasslands with power. The other branch shrank in size, developing climbing skills to dominate rock crevices, staying far from predators. When an elephant uses its trunk to sniff a rock hyrax on a ledge, it is a touching reunion of 2 lineages separated for tens of millions of years. It reminds us that in the natural world, appearances can be deceiving, but DNA never lies. The lion, leopard, Cape buffalo, and African bush elephant constitute 4 of the 5 members of the Big Five. This group represents the most dangerous and difficult animals to hunt in Africa, a designation coined by hunters in the 19th and 20th centuries. And the final piece of that renowned puzzle is the Savanna's most sullen, impenetrable, ironclad fortress, the rhinoceros. Inhabiting the same realm, the white rhinoceros stands as a complete polar opposite to its darker cousin. This is the world's largest rhinoceros species and the 2nd largest land animal on the planet, second only to the elephant. A mature male can weigh up to 2.3 tons, twice the mass of a black rhino. But contrary to their fearsome appearance, they are gentle giants. The white rhino possesses a much higher social nature. They often live in small groups called a crash, comprising females and calves, sometimes numbering up to 10 to 15 individuals. The most significant distinction lies in the mouth. The name white is actually a disastrous misunderstanding in linguistic history. When the Dutch arrived in South Africa, they described this species as wide, meaning wide, referring to their characteristic square mouth. This broad, flat, square mouth is a perfect biological lawnmower. The white rhino is a grazer. Their neck structure is longer, and the head is always held low to the ground, supported by a powerful nuchal ligament. They drift across the grasslands like giant mowing machines, consuming massive quantities of grass daily. Because their habitat consists of open plains rather than dense bush, white rhinos possess better visibility and are less prone to being startled than the black rhino. They are placid and rarely attack without provocation. However, never underestimate their power. When cornered or defending a calf, the white rhino remains a destructive force. Their front horn is longer than that of the black rhino, capable of reaching up to 1.5 meters. The rhino horn is not bone attached to the skull, but rather compressed keratin. It is hard as stone and continues to grow throughout their entire life. In territorial battles, two white rhino bulls will charge each other, clashing horns and engaging in shoulder shoving. The impact of two 2-ton masses creates ground tremors that can be felt from a distance. The coexistence of white and black rhinos on the savanna is a prime example of ecological niche partitioning. One is a bush browser, the other a plains grazer. They do not compete for food, allowing two giants to coexist on the same land. To survive with myopic eyes in a world fraught with enemies, the black rhino is forced to hire a bodyguard, and their most effective bodyguard is a tiny bird, the red-billed oxpecker. This is an iconic symbiotic relationship of Africa. This bird spends almost its entire life living on the backs of large mammals like rhinos, buffalo, or giraffes. The black rhino's body, with its many skin folds, is a paradise for parasites. Ticks, fleas, horseflies, and larvae infest the thick skin, sucking blood and causing irritating itches. The oxpecker uses its flattened red bill like a pair of forceps to groom, extracting these bugs from the hardest-to-reach places. They delve deep into the rhino's ears and nostrils to clean. A single oxpecker can consume up to 100 engorged ticks or 12,000 larvae per day. For the rhino, this is an invaluable free spa service. But the oxpecker's true value lies in its security role. This bird possesses excellent vision and a high vantage point. When detecting any sign of danger, a stalking lion or an approaching hunter, the oxpecker takes flight. They emit a distinctive shrill hissing call and fly erratically above the host's head. For the blind black rhino, this sound is an air raid siren. It immediately shifts into combat mode, swiveling its ears toward the sound and preparing to charge. Rhinos with oxpeckers on their backs have a detection rate of approaching humans twice as high as those without. However, this relationship is not entirely rosy. Scientists classify the oxpecker as a semi-parasitic species. Besides eating ticks, they have an extreme craving for blood. If the rhino has an open wound, the oxpecker will not help it heal. On the contrary, they will continuously peck at the wound to keep the blood flowing. This action can cause infection and delay the healing process. Nevertheless, the rhino tolerates this minor nuisance in exchange for the immense benefits of hygiene and early warning. In the wild, no ally is perfect. The black rhino's curiosity and erratic temperament sometimes spell trouble for its most innocent neighbors. The leopard tortoise is a frequent victim. This is the fourth largest tortoise species in the world, featuring a high-domed shell and beautiful spotted patterns. They are slow, gentle, and their sole concern is grazing. But when the leopard tortoise's path intersects with the black rhino's patrol route, trouble ensues. The black rhino is intensely curious about anything novel within its territory. Upon spotting a walking rock trudging across the ground, the rhino's investigative instinct kicks in. They do not rely on their eyes to see, but use their nose and horn to perceive. The rhino lowers its head, sniffing inquisitively at the terrified tortoise retreating into its shell. Then, like a mischievous child with a new toy, The rhino delivers a gentle nudge with its front horn. With the power of a 1.4-ton giant, that gentle nudge is enough to launch the tortoise into the air or flip it onto its back. This action appears driven neither by predation nor the desire to eliminate a threat. It is simply crude curiosity, or a way to alleviate the boredom of this solitary beast. After capsizing the tortoise, the rhino often walks away, leaving its victim helplessly stranded in the midday sun. For the leopard tortoise, being inverted is a matter of life and death. If unable to right itself quickly, it will be baked alive under the scorching sun, succumb to dehydration, or become an easy meal for vultures and jackals. The leopard tortoise's high-domed shell structure grants it a better self-righting ability than flat-shelled species, but success is not always guaranteed, especially on completely flat terrain. The image of an ironclad giant bullying a slow-moving tortoise is a moment both comical and cruel, vividly depicting the brutish nature of the black rhino. Another unwitting victim of the rhino's poor eyesight is the ostrich. This flightless giant bird often shares the same habitat with the rhino. Trouble usually arises during the ostrich mating season. The male ostrich, with jet black plumage and white tail feathers, performs an incredibly elaborate courtship dance to attract females. He kneels on the ground, spreads his giant wings spanning 2 meters, and rocks back and forth rhythmically. The long pink neck sways to the beat, creating an impressive visual spectacle. However, in the myopic and hazy eyes of a black rhino standing 40 meters away, this romantic performance looks very different. The rhino does not see a love-struck bird. It sees a large black mass with a bizarre shape moving erratically and appearing to challenge it. The attack-first defense mechanism is triggered. The rhino snorts, stomps its feet, and begins to charge. The male ostrich, engrossed in his dance, suddenly hears the ground trembling. He lifts his head to see a 1.4-ton tank barreling straight towards him at 55 kilometers per hour. The dance of love instantly transforms into a race for survival. The ostrich is the fastest biped on the planet, capable of running up to 70 kilometers per hour. He aborts the courtship, deploying his long, muscular legs to sprint desperately for escape. The rhino usually gives chase for a short distance and then stops, perhaps still not understanding what that black mass was and why it ran so fast. The female ostrich standing nearby also flees, leaving the male having wasted his effort, lost his dignity, and nearly lost his life. This disastrous misunderstanding occurs quite frequently in the savanna. It is a testament that in nature, cross-species miscommunication can lead to chaotic consequences. The black rhino, with its paranoia and blindness, inadvertently becomes the ultimate spoiler of ostrich romances. The savanna is a vast wilderness stretching endlessly beneath the African sun. It is a colossal biological arena where ferocious predators vie for power every single day. Every species, from the lion's proud throne to the elephant's constructive power, holds an irreplaceable role. They are the vibrant pieces of a living ecological tapestry. This grand battle for sovereignty will never end. It repeats every day, every hour, continuing to write the heroic and tragic pages of nature's history. Which warrior in this mortal arena impressed you the most? Leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us in exploring more mysteries of the wild.